evening, everyone. Tonight I'd like to just give you a couple of ideas on practicing the Schubert Impromptu, Op.90 number 2. It has to go very light and very fast. Well, it gets big in places too, but it has to have that flow, and it has to have each individual note totally controlled. So you have to have if you put your hand on your head, you'll feel the shape of your hand that you need over the keys. That's the natural shape of the hand. And when you can have that over the black keys like that, then you're right ready to fall into place with each finger. But you need to be able to depress the key. It's the difference between pressing and depressing. If you press the key, you get an ugly sound. What you need to be able to do is depress the key, like having a glass with a ping pong ball in it, and you press down on the ball, you feel the ball pushing back at you, and then the finger can take that weight and transfer it over to the next key. To transfer the weight, you need this kind of freedom in your wrists, and then you've got to be able to feel that the weight has moved over there to the next key. The finger, you give it that, you depress the key with some speed, and then you relax the finger and let the momentum that you've given that finger carry it the rest of the way down as you drop right through to the floor, and the key is in the way of the finger, and the weight pulls the key down. So you'll always get a lovely tone when you do that. So individual fingers, transfer between the notes. Be touching the keys. Even have the key almost a little bit down, not enough to lift the damper, but just a little bit down. And then you'll be so close to playing the next note when you transfer the weight to it that you'll get speed, because this thing has to flow, like it has to. Top notes, they have to hold for two-thirds of the bar. And so each individual finger, when it's sharp, when you play it, you depress the key partway down, and then you relax the finger and let the momentum you've given that finger carry it the rest of the way to the bottom as you dive right through to the floor with your arm and a limpid wrist, and then you just have the finger in the way of the key in the way of the finger, and the weight pulls the key down. You don't push it down. If you were just pressing the keys, you're going to get. I'm pressing from the knuckle on the bottom of the key. It's not totally ugly, but it's harsh. I want a warmth to the sound, a floating. The line has to float and flow. So think water flowing down a creek or something. Each one has to be perfectly even. And so if you can let gravity give the finger momentum by depressing toward the key, but then relax the finger, and as everything falls, the key is in the way, and so the gravity pulls the key down because the finger's in the way of this drop. This energy, this momentum you've given to the finger, the speed that's picked up, but not pushed into the key. So when you want something big, like in the middle section, you've got to be able to thrust your whole body into it, like. That kind of idea. It's going to give it vitality, and it's going to allow you to have some dynamic range to the piece, even in the big parts. And then when you get those flowing, lovely, light, velvety lines, it's beautiful to play when you can get it. But every note matters. Every note has to be controlled. And if you can hear it that way, and then do slow practice, and know for sure in your mind how you're creating every one of those notes, it's going to be beautiful, because You see, I gave it that energy, but I didn't press it down. I depressed part way and then relaxed with the finger having downward in the key momentum as I drop to the floor, and the key's in the way, and gravity pulls that down with that momentum. And then I have this lateral rotation of the hands that allows me to transfer the weight to the next key. And perform the same act on every key. And then get the dynamic range as the line, as you move through the phrase and building up to a point, and then coming down and shaping the end of the phrase, not rushing at the end of the phrase at all, just shaping it, breathing, and take the next breath and go. I think that if you can put those ideas to work for you and do this business of practicing uneven, like take a spot that's difficult, like it goes. Let's see. That's right, weak right there. I'll write in 4, 3, 2, 1. And do it to the first note of the next group. Then together. And then lighten it up and start to say, can I depress each key independently, giving it energy, giving it momentum, and then stopping my pressing action before I'm to the bottom, and allow the gravity to pull the key down. And have the transfer of the weight because of this freedom in the wrist. It will be beautiful, every note. It's how you make every note matter. You listen, you understand physically what it is you're trying to do. You first have to sit far enough back that you've got room to sit. You've got to have your shoulders relaxed, right from behind your ears. Feel the whole arm. That if I wanted a huge sound, I can drop. I can get a huge sound. But in something, that's what you're going to need when you do. But these, each individual finger, give it the momentum, relax, and be dropping, and let gravity pull that key down. You have to be able to thrust into the main one. That's hard because the quarter has to hold over the eighths. But it's to get that you know what you're doing. You understand how you're producing each note with using your body, and listening to the shape of every note, and then every group of 3, and then the phrase, then the whole bar over to the first note of the next bar, and then the whole phrase, and putting it all together, giving it a direction with some dynamic range, and make your practicing interesting that way, and you'll see a lot of progress in a relatively short amount of time. It's the way to practice understanding physically what you're doing, as well as audibly listening for what the sound has to be like. Anyway, I hope that gives you a few ideas, and I've tried this video 3 or 4 times, and that's about as far as I'm going to get this time tonight. But we'll see if you find it helpful. I hope you can tell me in the comments if it does help. Have a good night now. Bye-bye.